Hey, welcome to my new series, Talking Shop, where we're going to discuss mountain bike stuff in general and just kind of shoot the shit about the bike industry, about parts, tools. So, yeah, let's just dive into it. So, lately I've been thinking that most people are overtired. Um, Not meaning that they're sleepy, but the tires are making them, they're running too much tire for the bike that they have. Granted, most people now run, like the Assegai DHR combo or some variation of that, depending on what tire company you like to ride. Um, but since I moved here to Colorado, there has been, I don't know, I've found myself searching for a more efficient bike in the sense of rolling resistance. So I do have a transition spur, which I have specialized ground control tires on, and those tires are pretty much amazing. And if you haven't ridden those tires, they're awesome. They only come in like their just grid casing. They don't come in the grid trail, but it's fast rolling kind of cross country ish trail tire. And then my other bike is a specialized Stump Jumper Evo. It's 2003, and that one I run pretty much an Assegai up front and a DHR2 in the back. Surprisingly enough, is that riding trails back to back on the two different bikes, I'll ride the spur on just about anything except the gnarliest black trails, just because it doesn't have the front suspension. It's only a 120 bike, and you do lose some braking traction on the cross country smaller trail tires. So it gets a little sketchy on anything but you know, on anything over just like a regular black trail. It's not super gnarly. So, but what I found is that I was getting PRs on my spur and not really having to work for it. So it's not that it's faster. I think it's more efficient. So I have been playing around. I have been playing around with a Recon, Maxxis Recon on the rear of my Specialized or of the Stump Jumper Evo, my big bike, and it works really, really well. And back-to-back testing on the same trail, so it's faster with this tire. And that was before I got carbon rims on the Specialized, which lightened it up a little bit more and, got rid of some of that rotational weight. The rims I had before were DT Swiss 350 hubs and their XM 1700 wheel set, which is aluminum wheel set, which is pretty good all around standard wheel set that comes with most middle to high end bikes now. But yeah, the Recon's a super cool tire, and it rolls smooth. It's super quick. You do notice a little bit of the loss in the braking traction on the steeper, gnarlier stuff, but for the most part, it was an awesome tire. I did switch back to a new DHR2 and just tried, after I got my new carbon wheel set, to try that. And yeah, I think you can go one way or the other on that. If you're not riding steep, super loamy stuff or super loose stuff, the DHR2 is a little bit overkill, and probably so is the Assegai for most people. The Assegai has got tons of traction when leaned over into turns. It is a slower rolling tire. However, I know people that run them front and rear, and they're faster than me. So I don't think I'm necessarily chasing after the bike going faster. I want it to be more efficient. And ever since moving here to Colorado, there's a lot of climbing everywhere. So you can go to bike parks, and that's great. I just don't happen to live near one, or the closest one is probably like, I don't know, 2 hours away in Crested Butte. So here in Salida, there's a bunch of trails that, you have to work for it. So I'm kind of searching for that holy grail-ish of trail bikes, or making my long travel bike a little bit lighter or more efficient. So the efficiency is what I'm getting at. So I did switch to the Noble 35 carbon wheels on that bike, and that seemed to have made a difference. Now just cruising trails, I don't have to really work to gain speed, and I'm getting pretty much the same results without more energy input. So I think that's what I'm kind of looking at. I think, a lot of people are overbiked and they're overtired. I mean, that their tires are just probably overkill for what they're riding. So I'd be interested to hear your thoughts in the comments of what your particular tire setup is. Like I said, the ground controls, which I have a couple up here, spare ones, but these are specialized ground controls. This is a great tire. I like to refer to it as a mini Ascii front and rear that rolls a lot quicker. The grip on this thing is phenomenal. You do lose a little bit of the braking traction, like I mentioned earlier. But if you haven't tried that tire, it's great. And it just comes in their regular casing, which I've run Specialized tire, the Butcher up front and the Eliminator in back of my Stump Jumper Evo, and was pretty happy with those tires. Their grid trail compound seems to be equivalent to Maxxis EXO Plus, if not a little bit more substantial. I think the sidewalls are a little bit better. However, I did run into that problem with Specialized tires, is that I got a bad batch on the Eliminator tire in the rear and ripped the knobs off completely off the casing within a month. So yeah, you can go, I was trying to look for a less expensive tire other than Maxxis. But if you spend $50 on a tire and then have to replace it within a month and on another $50, I'd rather just spend $100 to get Maxxis, which I like, and have them last for 3 months without, those are just getting worn out. So between riding here, between Salida and between here in Salida and Tucson.
Your shit together. Get it all together and put it in a backpack. All your shit, so it's together.
The dirt's kind of the same. It's kind of that decomposed granite. So the rear tires don't tend to last that long, and especially on some of the Maxxis, like the DHR2s, like it'll last for the center tread, but I noticed the side knobbies start to get undercut, and then you do go into turns after a while and you start feeling that tire squirm a little bit. So, but anyways, yeah, I'm real happy with the ground control tires, and I think there's a lot of people out there that have tried them and really like them. I wish they would make that tire in a little bit stronger casing, although I have not run into any problems. And like I said, I ride that Spur, my cross country bike, on everything I ride my other bike on with the heavier casing, longer travel, whatever. So I haven't had any issues of ripping sidewalls off. The knobs have held up. Like I said, this is a backup set that I had put on my girlfriend's bike. She didn't like them. She liked the fact that they roll, but she likes braking traction a lot better. So she went back to the tried and true Ascii and DHR2 in the back. There's been a lot of talk online on, if you follow Pink Bike or Vital or whatever, just tire comparisons. Worldwide Cycle Read does a kind of like their favorite tire combos and what you're looking for speed. But I know a lot of people run heavy duty GH casings and whatnot. I generally run EXO Plus casings on my long travel bike and have never had a problem with them. So I've run double downs before in the rear, and I did not like the way that I don't like the feel of that tire. I don't like the way it rebounds. So different compounds have different feeling. I know some people that run heavier tire up front, so it's just all kind of personal preference, but generally I like my tires to feel the same, and I don't know, that double down just seemed to have a weird rebound to it. But again, I mean, you can get used to it. I have also run Continental tires. I experimented with those mainly in the rear because I could not find at the time, it was kind of during all that weirdness. And I could not find the front tire version of it. So I ran the rear tire, Cryptotol, and it to me felt a lot like the Double Down. It had that weird rebound effect on it. So it has a different feeling. Now I think if I would have run both front and rear Continentals, that probably wouldn't have felt that way because they would have kind of acted the same. But when you're running a different tire company with a different tire company, I don't know. I'm sensitive to it, so I can kind of feel the difference. But yeah, I generally don't rip sidewalls open, so I don't feel the need to run heavier duty tires. I'm not racing. I don't do a lot of bike park stuff. But I think people have been sold the bill of goods on like you have to have the heaviest casing and got the gnarliest tread out there. Probably not. I mean, if you look at some of these cross country racers out there and what they're riding and the PSI levels that they're running, pretty low PSI, and the tracks are getting gnarlier, and these guys rip it up. So on lighter weight casing tires and virtually no tread on some of them. So I have not tried the Victoria tires. A buddy of mine did. He tended to like them. He liked them a lot in the fact of their rolling resistance. He said they roll really fast. He did not like, I think it's the Mazda up front, which was a lot like a DHF. In my opinion, it looks a lot like it. And he said it had kind of that same characteristic where you had to really roll it over into the turn to get the side knobs to grab. So I kind of look for both. I think the Recon and this ground control tire are pretty similar products. They do have slightly different feel to them. I think Maxxis rubber and their 3C rubber is pretty nice. It rolls pretty fast. I don't know if it rolls as fast as the ground control and the T7. To me, it felt like it rolled a little bit slower, but that had just been the bike that it was on. But it rolls pretty quick, and there's similar tread patterns. So you can corner on these pretty well, and I was really impressed with the ground controls and how well you can corner on them, especially running front and rear. They don't seem to really break traction real easy, and you can really lean them over. And like I said, I've ridden them back to back on different tracks or the same tracks, like a day apart. So nothing really changed with the soil or the ground conditions, and it just seemed I had to put a lot less effort into making the ground controls work as opposed to big heavier tires. Now with that said, a lighter weight wheel set and my regular tire setup on my big bike, it's been a lot faster, and I've kind of found that same feeling as I have on my transition spur, is that it's more efficient. I can just let the bike roll. I don't feel like the bike is slowing down anywhere on certain tracks where I have to pedal a whole bunch and expend a whole bunch of energy. I just can let the bike roll through there and get off the brakes, and if not the same times, quicker times. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Talking Shop with me, and let me know in the comments what your tire combinations are. And anyways, have a good day, create a great day, go ride your bike.